Welcome back to TechniqueWOD. Today I want to talk about push-ups. Push-ups are probably one of the most basic foundational type moves that we have in CrossFit, but still a lot of people, even if they've been doing push-ups for years, still have little things that they could do to change their push-ups to make them better and to make it where it's easier on their shoulders and on their elbows. So first, I want to go over the main points of how to do a push-up. Number one looks like this. Okay. So, a few main points there. Number one is hand position. To start, I like to start on the ground, my hands next to my ribs, and then I come off my ribs just a little bit. Okay, so my hands are low, and I want to get as much of a vertical forearm as possible. Just like when you squat, having a vertical shin is a good thing. When you're doing pressing exercises or push-ups in particular, having a vertical forearm is going to give you the best leverage. I never want to be like this. Okay? I never want my hands way up here. I'm going like that. You see that all the time when people are doing push-ups like this. Okay. Number one, it's not giving you very good leverage, and number two, you're kind of hanging on the soft tissue structures in your shoulder. You're even getting some bone on bone in some cases where it's giving you a little bit more stability if you don't have very good strength in your shoulders, but it's going to beat your shoulders up over time. So again, if I start at the bottom, I want to have my hands right off my ribs, and then I want my shoulder blades all the way together. I never want to leave my shoulders forward like this at the bottom. My shoulder blades are all the way together. I lock my knees out, and then I press all the way up to locked out elbows, and I push my shoulder blades apart. And I do that without rounding my upper back. So my upper back doesn't want to look like this. I want my shoulder blades apart, but I want my upper back still to be straight. Okay? All the way to the ground. If you want to make sure you're all the way down, you can bring your hands up off the ground just for a second, put them back on the ground. We call those game style push-ups. Shoulder blades are together, and I rock my push-ups out. Okay? For scaling, if you're still relatively new to CrossFit and you don't have the upper body strength to do bodyweight push-ups with good technique, then my favorite way to scale is to use the rings rather than put my knees on the ground. Which is nothing wrong with putting your knees on the ground, but with the rings, you maintain that full front plank position, and I think it helps you get to that regular push-up a little bit sooner. So, I take some rings, and I can scale as much as I need to, where anybody should be able to do a push-up. If I walk forward, I more or less have no weight, and as I walk my feet back, I get a higher percentage of my body weight until obviously I'm all the way down on the ground here. And the reason I like that is because my knees and my thighs never touch the ground, which means I completely avoid snaking myself up off the floor. So I don't do this at all, where I put my knees down and then I kind of roll, and then I kind of roll back up and then pick my knees up. I see people doing this in their Metcons. All right. If I'm using the rings like I just showed you, you have no opportunity to do that whatsoever. You more or less have to maintain that good front plank position. Granted, you'll still see people that go like this, and they'll try to roll a little bit, and they'll hyperextend their back, and they'll kind of lose that good positioning here. So I never want to push away like this and hyperextend my back. I want to stay tight here, squeeze my butt just a little bit, so it just looks like my arms are moving, and I'm not getting any extension out of my low back, which is very hard on my low back. Okay? All right. So that's how to scale. Use the rings and slowly walk yourself down to a full body weight push-up. If you want to make the push-up heavier, then you have a couple of different options. Number one, you can add a weight plate or have a partner add a weight plate to your back. I generally put the weight plate where the top of it is right below my shoulder blades and the bottom of it's right about top of my butt. Point number two, which is a little bit easier to set up, and you can do this during Metcons, is to take a band, put your hands inside of it, and I usually actually put my elbows inside of it too, and then you can do your push-up using the band. So it just makes it a little bit heavier at the top. Down here there's not a lot of resistance, not a lot of extra resistance, and then as you stretch the band through the top part of the movement, you'll get a little bit of extra resistance. So I'm pretty much deloaded at this point. I touch my chest to the ground, and then I get a little bit of extra resistance from the band at the top. Okay? You can do a very similar thing. By adding chains. I put the chain over my neck like this, or I can have it go diagonal, which if I have multiple chains, I'll usually crisscross them across my back just like this, where the other one, where they would both be here, then the other one would be the other way. Again, the chain will deload on the ground, and then it'll load back up as I go to the top of the movement. A couple of quick, easy options on how to load your push-ups. Maybe we'll come back another day and we'll talk about the millions of other different push-up variations. But for today, just the push-up basics. I'll see you tomorrow.